Hello everyone, my name is Justine Green and this is my Reinventing Project-Based Learning PowerPoint. So for Chapter 3, this is called Imagining the Possibilities. When imagining the possibilities in a project, you should always identify the big ideas while planning a project and the core concepts and processes. The big ideas should pop out more when going over the Common Core standards and understanding what needs to be taught. You should always look up the mathematics Common Core standards and the language arts standards so you know what you should go over and how you should go over it. And always look back at old teaching to make judgments on new teaching, meaning if you taught the year before, always look back and see how your students were able to base their opinions off your teaching, and sometimes you're going to have to make judgments on the new teaching. So for this slide, I decided to put the wiki and the learning dispositions on it. So by creating a wiki, it's a great way to get thinking and collecting your projects in one spot. A wiki is a place where you can edit and add content online from any computer with the use of internet, and it helps for tracking your actions. When thinking about learning dispositions, you should always think of them when creating a project. Always allow someone to go over ideas with you so you can get new ideas from someone else. Students become more intelligent when they understand how they learn. And always be aware of what your students might think about the project before actually giving it to them. Meaning, always ask yourself questions like, what am I able to learn from this? How should I go upon doing this project? And also, what learning stuff does a teacher want to hear? So for Chapter 4, it's called Strategies for Discovery. And this is to engage students in understanding the situation a little differently and letting them in to observe what is being taught through their eyes. Students learn better through observation because they are constantly observing in everyday life. One of the theorists, I'm pretty sure it was Piaget, believed in play, and play is another thing of observation because children are sculpting their own projects and basically looking at stuff without people telling them what it actually is. So you design your own project from scratch, integrating technology in new ways to reach your instructional goals, and always review other plans first to discover more from someone else's point of view. But always make sure that that person knows that you are using ideas from their plan because that could be a problem. So when designing your project, you should always make a sketch before making the final project to allow corrections and changes. Always be open to your colleagues and listen to them when they are giving their thoughts about your project because they could honestly help. Use technical aids to identify and manage your assets. Create a survey online to imagine new possibilities and send it to everyone who might be interested. I think the survey is a great idea because you could get new opinions from everyone else for your project because a lot of people think differently. And you should always consider turning your project into something bigger to help the community around you. So for my last chapter, it is called Making Assessment Meaningful. And this is basically about project-based learning and how it is personalized learning. I took a quote from a book because it made me understand this a little more. And it's students go through a progression of activities, questioning, investigating, making sense of what they discover, and beginning to make a new understanding. Assessment should let students understand them as a whole and how they take everything in. Assessing a child can be hard but also easy because you understand their weaks and strengths, but at the same time, some students aren't very good at assessment, so it's always good to make a project. So assessment, learning, and rubrics. Assessing through projects lets students learn more than waiting till the last minute. Meaning that instead of taking tests, projects are a better way to assess the students. It lets the teacher help the students discover new things, whereas like in tests, I feel like you can't really help the student, but projects you could give them ideas and listen to their ideas, but also tell them new things about their ideas so they could think differently. So the two main purposes for assessment are measuring students' learning in a summative way and evaluating the quality of the project. So, in my opinion, my favorite part is the rubrics. And the rubrics communicate expectations around concept attainment. They always give a length and specific direction so students know what exactly to do. And creating a rubric allows students to understand the learning behind the project and what students should achieve. I personally love rubrics because I feel like when you do a project, I always like to know what the teacher expects and what me as a student need to make that expectation a reality. And it's always a good way to get a good grade on the projects. So that is it. This is the reference, the book that I used, and I hope you enjoy, and I'm very glad that I took this class during summer. Thank you.